Hi, Tom Fulmer with National Drug Screening, and today we have a great guest with us, Mr. Joe Reilly, who's the president of National Drug Screening, somebody who's been in the industry for many, many years. He's an industry veteran with over 25 years of experience. He has done training for the SBA, for the White House Office of Drug Policy and Control, and many other organizations. He's also chaired industry associations. He's spoken to events all over the country, has a wealth of information. Welcome, Joe. Thanks for coming out today.
COVID appropriate handshake.
That's right, absolutely.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so we've done spotlights with our other team members from National Drug Screening in the past, but we've never spotlighted you really.
Yeah,
So,
you're putting me on the spot here. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, and of course I don't tell you all the questions to see how you really do out there, so that makes it a lot more
Now
lot
I
more
know
fun and
how the
entertaining.
staff feels when they get up here.
Exactly. That's why they're scared to come on sometimes. Not really. They enjoy it. So, Joe, you've been in the industry for a long time, but before that, you did a variety of other things too, and you actually moved down from New York, like many people here in Florida. So, kind of tell us a little bit about your background, what brought you here, and kind of your experience.
Sure. So I was born and raised in New York City on a small island called Manhattan,
Right.
and went to high school and college there. And about a year and a half after college, I moved to Florida to become an entrepreneur, and did a few things, and finally that led up to in 1993 getting involved in a drug and alcohol testing business called Florida Drug Screening.
Right. Yeah, and so kind of what led you to that? Because you went through some different things, and you actually have a degree in accounting and as well as marketing and some other things as well. So kind of what led you to choose drug testing?
Yeah, so interesting story. I was in the bar and restaurant business for about 10 years. I got out of that, and that's a young man's game, by the way, so got out of it just in time. And I was doing training and consulting for the hospitality industry. And at that point in time, here in Florida, workers' comp rates were at an all-time high, and people were complaining about workers' comp rates. And as a consultant, like, what can you do to help us? And it wasn't really part of what we did because we did risk mitigation. But we came across a law that got passed in Florida that required workers' comp companies to give a discount on workers' comp premiums to employers who implemented comprehensive drug-free workplace programs. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I and my partner, we thought, wow, that's an idea that could lead to a business. Mm-hmm. And so that's how we started drug testing. And we called up a good friend of mine who I didn't really know at the time, but he became a great friend, Tom Moore from LabCorp. And he came to visit us and spent the whole day talking about the drug testing industry, and that's what launched the company.
Yeah, and it took a dramatic turn from there, because you started off with with Florida and just kind of the local idea in mind, but it grew fairly quickly. And from your experience and from knowing you, I know that whenever you take on something, you really work to become the expert in it, whatever it is. I mean, I've seen that experience, and that was really kind of what happened there, is you kind of took charge of that, and it kind of really grew. And so tell us what happened with there as you grew the company and kind of moved into consulting and some things.
Sure. So we started the company out with the primary focus on doing business in Florida. And at the time we started, there really wasn't much of an internet. Mm-hmm. And as the internet came about, and always one of my slogans is always look for opportunities.
Right.
And so as the internet came about, we saw the ability to market to and service companies all over the United States mm-hmm. for drug testing. And so that's what led to it becoming a national company. In 2008, I got an offer from a large corporation to actually acquire the company, which that happened. And I stayed on board for a couple of years as the president of the company. But that led me into doing, once I was done with that task, into more consulting and training around the industry, which I did for about 5 years.
Yeah, and so a lot of those the experiences you picked up along the way allowed you to work with with startup companies and helping them develop not only their business model but sales and a lot of other areas, and just like you did, even develop exit strategies and planning for the future and a lot of pieces that came with that. So as you did that, you've probably worked with hundreds of companies, I would imagine, to do those kind of things and trained a lot of people in those areas.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It was pretty much focused on consulting and training for about 5 years, but that's continued through today.
Right.
So now we're going on almost close to 15 years of doing consulting and training. And as you mentioned, hundreds of companies, lots of startups, worked with several franchise operations around the country, worked with people that were selling their business or getting out of the business, succession plans, exit strategies, things like that. And in 2014, I decided the time was right to build a new third-party administrative company and service direct to employers, and we started the current company, National Drug Screening.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you mentioned, looking for those opportunities, just seeing the timing and knowing when to take advantage of it, when to make that transition is huge. And I know when you first started it, you really thought of it, just from our conversations, as just, you wanted to get back into it. You saw it as a great opportunity, but you didn't see it as growing into what it has today. You saw it just as more of getting back in the industry and kind of growing from there. And so kind of tell us what happened to take everything off,
Yeah, so, what kind of led me getting back into direct sales of drug testing, one was I saw the industry picking up. I mean, there had been a downturn in 2008 with the economy back then. I really saw an uptick with the statistics that were out there of lots more testing being done. And I came across a software company that had developed specific software for drug testing, electronic ordering, receipt of drug test results through a web portal, a lot of automation. So I thought, well, I can get back into the game of employer drug testing, but kind of keep it small, keep doing some consulting, and just kind of go on with a happy little life.
Right.
But all things change, and always ready for change.
Yeah.
As you know, Tom, we brought you on board in 2015.
Yeah.
And we've grown the company significantly with 17 employees right now, and last year revenues in excess of $6 million.
Yeah, and it was really that dramatic growth, I think, watching for those opportunities, and as it came up, just said, hey, we don't really, got to take advantage, got to keep moving.
Always looking for opportunities.
Yeah, and since then, you've actually, been recognized for many things. You've been in the paper, and you and I met years ago when you had Florida Drug Screening, when you were doing some stuff with the chamber, and you sat on boards there as well. And, I've seen that consistent mindset of, how can we continue to grow and how can we continue to serve people out there. So it's really been awesome. And you got quite a few recognitions, in the past few years with, 2018 with the Simpkins Entrepreneurial Award here with Space Coast Business. And then in 2019, you had the Grow FL Top 50 Companies to Watch, as well as a few other spotlights and Best Companies to Work For nominations for the last 2 years. So some really good things out there that you've been recognized for.
Yeah, we've been humbled to be recognized, been very humbled several times over the years to be recognized as an Entrepreneur of the Year by different organizations. But it really all comes down to the team of people that we have. One man cannot do it alone. The success is through the team. And the communication that we have with our team is excellent. The training that we do, as we just got done with a weekly team meeting that we do every meeting, and just really fosters a motivated team that execute very highly. And I give a lot of credit, especially these last few months with COVID-19. Right. Our team has really stepped up. And I appreciate all they do and all you do, Tom.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, and we have a phenomenal team, and your focus on education and then connecting the right people. I think that's really what set it up for success. It's not just things don't just come together. They don't happen by happenstance. They actually have to be planned out, and they have to have the right mindset and leadership for that. And I think you've set that great example not only for us but others in the industry. And kind of speaking of that, with the changes with COVID and all that, obviously we've seen some changes here at National Drug Screening, and now we're starting to see some more changes with things kind of stabilizing a little bit more. So what are you seeing, both maybe from the company perspective, but also out within the industry that's going on right now that's relevant? Yeah,
so let me break that down and talk about it from our company perspective. COVID-19 kind of hitting us all in early March and towards end of March, and a lot of shutdowns. We were an essential business, as you know, so we stayed open. But we deployed the majority of our team to work at home, and really that's the first time I ever had people work for me work at home, and it was. Interestingly enough, it's been very successful. The team has been extremely productive working at home. The month of April was rough. It was business was down. It was down about 50% of what it was the year before, or even the month before. But May picked up a little bit from there. June picked up a little bit from there. July's picked up a little bit from there. August picked up a little bit from there. We had a couple of employees kind of go off to do something else in life, and we brought on a couple of new employees, so we didn't really change our staffing levels. We were very fortunate to receive, money from the payroll protection program, so that we had a cushion there to make sure we could pay our employees. And now, finishing out August, we're about 90% of where we were same time last year. So all in all, we're happy with that. And, we're happy that our team has really stepped up during this stressful time.
Yeah, and even now we've started to expand. So we've got new people coming up, which is moving, I think, in the right direction. We're starting to see that trend for that. So it's nice to be able to reach out and help some other people and bring them as part of the team. And our team's very excited about that too, by the way. I've been hearing that from the conversations. They're very excited to have new team members on board, which is interesting in companies. A lot of times you don't see that kind of mindset where they're really going out of their way to find new people, bring new people, welcome them in, and they're already planning for them to be a great fit for the team. I mean, it's really interesting.
Yeah, well, they're excited because the phone rings off the hook. Yeah. They'll get a little bit of relief. But I'm excited too, so that we can finish out this year strong, bringing on a new person in the sales department, and we're gonna beef up our marketing and advertising a little bit. The worst time to cut back on marketing and advertising is during bad economic times. So we're going to beef it up, and we're going to close out the year strong.
Yeah, and we've been doing a lot of things out there to get information out and help people, and a lot of things for employers and all that. And that's a lot of that insight's coming from your experience in consulting. What are some of the things, because you've seen those ups and downs, and been very fortunate to be able to use videos and articles to help the employers out there who are struggling, and other organizations as well. So as we continue to do that. So, what do you see as far as the state of the industry? I know there's some changes going on, obviously with COVID stuff going on and people being at home and limited in what they can do. It's unfortunate that we're seeing some increases in substance abuse for drugs, alcohol, that being fueled by depression from not being able to get out. And there's a lot of situations that are happening that are affecting not only just the general communities, but also our industry directly and those involved in our industry, as well as employers. What do you see kind of as far as trends?
So, the drug testing industry, as you know, is, evolving all the time and changes all the time. So not only, in the last few months have we had everything to do with COVID-19, but we also have changes going on. Right. So particularly for Department of Transportation regulated drug testing, DOT, a couple things on the horizon. Oral fluid testing will be approved within the next 6 months. Right. They just published some guidelines for hair testing to be approved for DOT. That's probably a year or two out, but it's coming. There's a new federal custody and control form currently in place, although you can still use the old form up through August 30th of 2021, so no need for anyone to panic. Right. Those new forms aren't even printed yet, so don't call and ask for them yet. They're not even available. And then, of course, with DOT random testing, it's required testing. It's a little bit of a struggle late March and April for people to get their employees tested, but DOT said, we'll give you a little leeway, but by the end of the year, you got to have employees tested. That regulation isn't going away because of COVID-19. So employers just couldn't have an excuse, well, we're not testing because of COVID. That didn't fly. In addition to that, the whole COVID-19, it creates stress in our world and stress in the United States. And we've seen this in the past with things like, Hurricane Katrina and 9/11 and other disasters, whether on a nationwide basis or a regional basis, that substance abuse increases when there's a national disaster. And we're already seeing that here in the United States. Alcohol sales are off the charts.
Yeah.
Marijuana dispensaries and retail stores are reporting high sales. We've seen an increase in suicides. We see a lot more substance abuse. So, as a drug testing company, we're involved in that, and we have our little piece of trying to help with that, because maybe we deter someone from using drugs, or maybe we identify someone early and they can get the help that they need. So there's just a lot going on between the changes in the world with COVID and changes in drug testing, increased substance abuse. And so we got to be in our game here as a drug testing company.
Yeah, absolutely, and I completely agree with that. And I know you've been doing quite a few videos lately, and I have a lot more that you'll be doing coming up on different specific topics to be of help with that, which is awesome that you're able to share that expertise and that knowledge out there. And we always look for opportunities to do that, because you're right. Things are constantly changing, and you got to stay on top of what's going on and figure out how you can handle certain situations, especially with these, with some of the legal changes coming out actually in drug testing. You have to be aware of those kind of things.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention marijuana, because that's kind of been in the background the last few months with COVID being on the forefront. But you've still got the issue of marijuana being legal in many places, still prohibited for DOT drug testing, but in states that have medical marijuana laws and states that have recreational marijuana laws, as an employer, you better have a drug-free workplace policy that addresses marijuana one way or the other. Whatever it is, you need to address it, and if you don't, you're exposing yourself to potential significant liability.
Yeah, and that's something too to keep up with all the state law changes, because we're going to have those things coming up. There's more things on the ballot, coming up later this year. There's things at the federal level that are going on that you want to keep, updated on. And I know you and I'll both be doing different videos on some of those things as they happen. And we have some great things on the website. One of the things that you helped implement was the state marijuana laws pages and some of those kind of things to keep employers and individuals even updated on some of that.
Yeah.
Because you got to know where to go, and some of that stuff's not easy to find.
Yeah, so we have a comprehensive section on our website. You can click on any state and see their marijuana laws. We have a whole page with workplace considerations for marijuana use. We have recommendations on what to put in a drug-free workplace policy. Both Tom and I are available for consultation to employers to help address what needs to be in their policy regarding the marijuana issue.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Joe, are there any other things you want to share with anybody before we wrap things up for today? We really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to sit down and share some of these things and share a little bit about yourself with us in history too. So.
Well, I appreciate you putting me in the hot seat. Last minute notice. I didn't know this was coming. Luckily, I wore a nice collared shirt. But no, it's it's been a stressful time. It will continue to be a stressful time. I encourage our clients, our employees, our team, and everybody out there, to have a positive attitude. Have a positive outlook. Things will get better. As Americans, we've been through a lot, not all the time. Sometimes things, ride through really smoothly, but we always step up to the challenge. And I know that as Americans, we can do that. I think business is going to, get better as time goes on. And thanks for the opportunity to share with everybody.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate your being here, and appreciate all of you out there joining us as well. Make sure you check out our blog and our website at www.nationaldrugscreening.com You can also see a lot of videos on our YouTube channel. You can get there by going to drugtestvideos.com. That's just a short link to get you there, where you'll have tools, resources, information of what's going on. You'll be able to meet some of the team here at National Drug Screening, and you'll have some easy ways to reach out to us in case you have specific questions we can answer for you. So thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time.